Why are we not entering the $100 Amazon gift card giveaway? Yes, you could win $100 for free. All you have to do is don't be lazy. Go in the comments, predict how many games I'm going to get correct out of 63 this week, and give me the tie-breaking score of Texas versus Texas A&M. Consecutive weeks, we've upped our score. 2 weeks ago, we got 41 games correct. Last week, we hit the PR of 46 games out of 58. We are so hot right now. It's rivalry week. Forget who you know, forget what you know, because some crazy shit is going to happen. I'm going to pick some crazy upsets. I'm going to be honest with you. Let's just go. Now, the upset is not going to be UMass beating Bowling Green. UMass having an historically bad season. They've lost every game by 30. That is not changing. There's going to be 5 fans at that game. It's Thanksgiving week. No one goes anyways. Everyone's going to be home for Thanksgiving. There's going to be 5 fans at that game. And the people who do see it, they could see something amazing. All right, Western Michigan versus Eastern Michigan. The Broncos are on a Linsanity run. We talked about it in last video, why we love them so much. Eastern has given me nothing to hang my hat on this year. Now, Navy versus Memphis. Memphis has nothing to play for. They had a gut-wrenching loss 2 weeks ago. One of the worst losses of the college football season. Boneheaded mistakes, all of that. But they're playing for their seniors. They're going to say, oh, they're not playing for the CFP. They're not going to care. Their quarterback's like 40 years old. He's seriously 40 years old. Now, Utah versus Kansas. A few weeks ago, I would have said Utah, no question. But Utah goes up and gives up nearly 500 rushing yards to Kansas State. Now I'm a little nervous for this game, but 2 dual threat quarterbacks for Utah is going to be too much for the Kansas defense, who has struggled at points this season. Now, I'm a man of my word, guys. I stand on business. When I say something, I do it. I've been saying since about week 3 that this was a year where there would be an Egg Bowl upset. I was just saying it. I literally in week 3, week 4, I was like, Mississippi State's winning the Egg Bowl. I'm just getting the vibes. And now with Lane Kiffin having the whole coaching search, there's so much hoopla going around Ole Miss right now. This rivalry is pretty much close every single year. Mississippi State has made a better step this season. They're much better than they were last year, even though the wins and losses haven't shown the result. They win at home. It's going to be the first upset. It's going to be a Friday upset, Egg Bowl. People are going to be like, what the heck just happened? Yes, that's the kind of week that we're going to get. Now, Kent State versus Northern Illinois. NIU. Last game in the MAC before they go to the Mountain West, but you know I love Kent State. Ohio versus Buffalo, Ohio. Amazing run game. They're putting up 200. They're putting up 300. That run game travels. Iowa versus Nebraska. Nebraska has a freshman quarterback only making his 3rd start. Iowa is going to play much more physical. Now, Iowa hasn't done as well on the road. I know GBR has a great fan base, but I still think Iowa's going to win that game. They're going to be able to stop the rushing attack. Air Force versus Colorado State. This is a really tough one because Colorado State fired their whole coaching staff. They fired their coach. They don't have their quarterback. They don't have any of that, but Air Force is literally down in the dumps this year. I just don't think Colorado State's going to have enough to play for in this game. Air Force, they play with pride. They have discipline. I mean, shit, they're the Air Force Academy. All right, Georgia versus Georgia Tech. What I saw last week really just ruined it for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's not a great team. They've been winning many games by 1 score. They should have lost the NC State game if it wasn't for a ref call. They were down 28-0 to Pitt. I mean, what are we talking about? Georgia's much better. Gunnar Stockton is a great quarterback, all right? No matter what the troll is on social media, Gunnar Stockton is him, all right? San Diego State versus New Mexico. I believe the winner goes to the Mountain West Championship. That is too crazy. But why am I picking all road teams? This doesn't feel right. This is 6 road teams in a row. But San Diego State has one of the most gnarly defenses in the country as far as takeaways. I'm pretty sure they're like plus 100 in takeaways. Again, I think that sort of defense travels on the road. It's not going to be a crazy environment. New Mexico, their coach is probably going to get poached to another job. Jason Eck, he should get poached. Now, Temple versus North Texas. Speaking of poach, just a few minutes ago, like right before I got on and made this video, North Texas, their coach is going to Oklahoma State. I don't think it's going to matter. I think they're going to play for them. They're still in the playoff race. I don't know how this thing's going to end out, but North Texas, they can score points. We know that. They put up 50 a game. They have one of the best running back duos in the country. Boise State versus Utah State. All right, it's not Boise State's season, but still, Utah State's absolute shit. Indiana versus Purdue. How great would it be if Purdue won this game? How great? Like, that would shake up so much shit in the Big Ten. But anyways, Texas A&M versus Texas. Are we going for our second rivalry upset? And yes, you know the deal here. I pick against Texas A&M every single week. It's tradition. And I actually think Texas is going to win this game. Like I said, there's not a team that just goes undefeated through the SEC. The SEC schedule is a gauntlet. It's going to get you no matter what. Injuries, players get tired. When you're facing good teams week in and week out, you're bound to have a game where you don't show up. And last year, yeah, I know what happened last year. I know what happened in last year's game. But Texas is going to win this one at home. Arizona versus Arizona State. Oh, buddy, I think there's just too much going on. Arizona has been playing much better than Arizona State recently. And I know you're going to say, oh, Arizona State, they finished hot. They're still in the rankings. Arizona State, Sam Levitt is literally shopping himself to go to new transfer portal destinations next year. If that says enough about the culture, that says enough about the culture. This is going to be a close game, as it always is. U of A, U of A's won 3 or 4 in a row. They went to Iowa State, won the game. They played some tough games, and they've won. Houston versus Baylor. All right, I haven't liked what I saw from Houston. I haven't liked what I saw from Baylor. Both teams turned the ball over. Both teams are honestly really bad. I'm just going to go with the coin flip. I'm going to go Baylor because they're at home. Toledo versus Central Michigan. Central Michigan has a first-year head coach. He's doing a really good job. He's flipped it. We're going to go with them just because they're at home. East Carolina versus Florida Atlantic. One of my subscribers is a huge FAU guy. I'm a huge FAU guy. Did you guys know I was about to collab with them? Yes, this last spring, I was on the verge of collabing with them and going down and filming this whole video. It never happened. That's just what it's like in the sports industry, guys. I hope you guys know, a lot of you guys probably don't work in sports, but there's a lot of, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and it never ends up happening. There's a lot of talks, a lot of weird shit going on. Colorado has completely just given up on the season. We already know that. Juju Lewis isn't even starting because they want to keep his red shirt. Ball State versus Miami, Ohio. Ball State actually had some momentum this season. I talked about this before. They had some momentum to start the year. Well, I don't even know what their record was. Maybe they were like 4-2 or something. Oh my gosh, they played so horrible in the month of November. They're not winning this game. Miami, Ohio is much better. They play great special teams. Iowa State versus Oklahoma State. Same thing going on here. Iowa State had a great win last week. I mean, Rocco Becht hasn't had his best season. This was a team that had playoff hopes, and they haven't reached that, but they still have talent on their roster. They're still a great coach by Matt Campbell. They're going to win against Oklahoma State, who hasn't done anything. Miami versus Pitt now. Ooh. I feel like this could be trouble for Miami, especially if Pitt comes out throwing and Pitt gets the lead, because again, Miami's not a team that can work from behind with the way their offense is built. They play that really slow-paced offense. They play conservative offense, but I don't think Pitt's going to be able to throw the ball like they normally do just because of Miami's physicality. They're going to get, like, they have a freshman quarterback. I know Mason Heichel's really good, but Miami's front against a freshman quarterback, I feel like they're going to wreak havoc, and they will eventually win this game. It might not be pretty, but they're going to win this game. Clemson versus South Carolina. It has not been South Carolina's year. It's still Dabo Swinney. He knows how to coach in these games. It was funny because South Carolina won this game last year, and everyone was saying Clemson shouldn't go to the playoff because they lost to South Carolina the week before. They won the ACC championship. It's a non-conference game, your last game of the season. It's really weird. But if you've watched South Carolina this year, there are so many problems on the offensive side of the ball. There's just so many holes in this team, all right? Now, Ohio State versus Michigan. It can't happen again. It cannot happen again. If it happened again, I honestly don't know what to say. Like, I can make a full video. If Michigan wins this, I will make a full video of me just staring at the camera. I don't even know what to say at that point. I don't think Michigan's great this season. I don't think their record really shows what they are. What Michigan wins were quality? You tell me right now. What quality wins does Michigan have? I can't even answer that. I can't even answer that right now off the top of my head. Literally none. Ohio State, the way they've been slinging it, and they're getting healthy too. They had Tate and they had Smith out last week. I just think they're getting guys healthy because they really don't care. Kentucky versus Louisville. Louisville's just fallen off the rails. Kentucky's been playing much better. But again, I think the rivalry will get them up. I know what happened last week where they got destroyed by SMU, and the week before that they lost to Cal. But sometimes you want to, when everyone's going against them, this is where you want to flip. This is where they're going to come back and win it. And we would look silly if we picked Kentucky in this game, if we just went straight with the momentum. All right, Texas Tech versus West Virginia. Not even a chance, but that would be an amazing upset. I root for upsets like these, where Texas Tech is so clearly the favorite in this game. West Virginia hasn't had a great season. UCF versus BYU. Rematch, guys. It's going to be a rematch. I don't care what you say. It's going to be a rematch versus Texas Tech and BYU. I've been waiting for it, although Texas Tech is still a much better team. I think the distance in the Big 12 is literally this right now. It's huge distance, all right? FIU versus Sam Houston State. FIU is so fun to watch. They just play such great offense. Sam Houston State, they all fooled us with that Oregon State win. UTEP versus Delaware. I believe UTEP won last week, which was absolutely crazy, but Delaware has a much better record at home. Pretty sure they've won all their games at home. They've won close games as well. Georgia Southern versus Marshall. Oh my gosh, Georgia Southern is atrocious this year. Don't ever watch any of their games. Please don't. Western Kentucky and Jacksonville State. You saw the way that Western Kentucky played last week against LSU, and I warned you guys. I told you guys that the Hilltoppers were a good team going against LSU, who had absolutely nothing and is going through a coaching change in QB, and they almost walked into Baton Rouge and won that game. I'm serious. They're still the top team in Conference USA right now. I really love the Hilltoppers. Louisiana Tech versus Missouri State. Missouri State's having another Linsanity season. First season, and by the way, I think they were 7-5 in the FCS last year, or maybe 8-4. They were an average team in the Missouri Valley and they come to the FBS and do this, that just shows you how good the FCS is, all right? The North Dakota States of the world, the North Dakotas, the South Dakota States are really good. Those FCS teams need to get in the FBS now. If you agree with me, go in the comments. Go in the comments. Anyways, I love North Dakota. I spent time in North Dakota. North Dakota is a great place. Georgia State versus Old Dominion. I love what I'm seeing from Old Dominion. Georgia State, both of the Georgia teams, Georgia Southern and Georgia State, are just, oh my gosh, so many penalties, so many sloppy mistakes. Those teams are not well coached. Arkansas State versus App State. Now, App State's been an absolute roller coaster of a team this year. They've been up, they've been down, they've been up, they've been down, but they'll finish off the season strong. Middle Tennessee versus New Mexico State. Who saw that New Mexico State game last week? Yeah, if you know, you know. But Middle Tennessee, what? They're 2-10, 2-9. They're not winning this game. Boston College versus Syracuse. Oh my gosh, this is the battle of, you saw Syracuse lose 70-7 last week. I'm going with Boston College. I mean, I know Boston College has had more momentum late in this season. Gosh, I can't even speak right now, guys. This is like my third attempt making this video. I'm just having trouble. South Alabama versus Texas State. Shout out to my boy Colton. Shout out to my boy Colton at Texas State. They win this game. UL Monroe versus Louisiana. Raging Cajuns all day. These are a bunch of boring group of five games. Tulsa does not have enough explosiveness on offense to win this game. UAB, oh, you guys heard what happened to UAB. One of their players got stabbed. I felt really bad. That was absolutely horrible. UAB actually put up a good showing last week against South Florida for the most part. They're going to go on the road and beat Tulsa. Wake Forest versus Duke. Wake Forest, Jake Dickert. Screw a rebuild, man. This guy could be the next Signetti. Nah, no, don't quote me on that. But the ACC, remember, if he's able to build towards next year, the ACC is not amazing. The ACC is open every single year. I could see Wake Forest doing some damage. Anyways, Kennesaw State versus Liberty. Kennesaw State, what are they on the season? Can they still go to the Conference USA Championship? I believe they still can go to the CUSA Championship with this game, although they lost last week. Although they've lost 2 in a row, they can still go to it. LSU versus Oklahoma, there's no way LSU is going to be able to move the ball. If you score 13 points against Western Kentucky, imagine what you're going to do against Oklahoma's defense right now, who is probably one of the best defenses in college football. I don't know if the numbers back that up. I'm just saying that. Anyways, Penn State versus Rutgers. These teams are playing for a bowl. I know Penn State's playing for a bowl. Rutgers is playing for a bowl. Penn State's playing with so much pride right now. They're just giving it to their running backs and saying go. They're just giving it to the running backs and saying go. It's absolutely awesome football. Cincinnati versus TCU. TCU was so much better at the beginning of the season, man. I had high hopes for TCU until they just started throwing interceptions, until they started turning the ball over. They turned the ball over 4 times yesterday or last week, and they ended up winning the game. They ended up winning the. If you can do that, you're going to be able to win at home. Just clean it up a little bit. If TCU can clean it up a little bit, they'll win this. They'll win their bowl game, whatever they want to do. Missouri versus Arkansas. It's been that type of year for Arkansas where no matter which way the ball rolls, they can't win a game. Missouri will be able to run. If Missouri can't run, they can't win. That's just how it is. I don't care if Bo Perbula's back. Bo Perbula. Gosh, I cannot speak today. Wisconsin versus Minnesota. The battle for the Paul Bunyan axe. Wisconsin has won each of their last 2. They beat 2 pseudo-ranked teams in Washington versus Illinois. But Minnesota, once again, Minnesota's undefeated at home this year. The Golden Gophers cannot lose, and I'm not going against that. Now, Troy versus Southern Mississippi. Now, this might be the battle for the Sun Belt title. I think the winner of this plays JMU, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm going with Southern Miss in this game. Vandy versus Tennessee. Vandy's not there yet, all right? You want to know how you can test a truly elite program, a truly good or a truly elite program who can go to the college football playoff, they can be in the top 12, can win on the road. I just haven't seen Vandy win on the road yet. In a rivalry setting like this, it's going to be high scoring. Both teams are going to be going whoo. But I don't think Diego Pavia can carry his team like that. I really don't think that. And I know Tennessee, I've been shitting on them all season. But Vandy has not shown me what they can do against a top-tier program on the road. Both of the teams they played this year that were good, they ended up losing. They lose 2 scores in Bama. They lost by 2 scores in Tuscaloosa. Now, Army versus UTSA. UTSA, this is just a contrast in styles. You have the triple option versus one of the most electrifying offenses in college football. UTSA, I saw some stat that like in the last 2 or 3 years in the Alamo Dome, they've lost 1 game or something like that, but let's just say they're a really good team at home. Now, Oregon versus Washington. Oregon's up in the air because they were really injured against USC last week, and they beat USC. I know it was at home. It's going to be a tough game in Washington. Historically, they haven't played great in Seattle, but I'm just going to guess they're going to get more healthy at the wide receiver spot, and they'll be able to be a little more explosive enough to keep up with Washington's attack, their wide receiver, running back, and quarterback duo with Damon Williams. James Madison versus Coastal Carolina. This is going to be an easy game. Coastal Carolina is completely fallen off the face of the earth. Now, this is a 5-win team and a 4-win team. Oh my gosh. At the beginning of the year, we were like, oh, this game could have playoff implications. This game could do this. This game could do that. Mike Norvell is getting extended. Could that give Florida State some momentum, or do they actually hate Mike Norvell? Florida got waxed last week. Florida just turns the ball over too much. I mean, anytime you have Lagway in there, he's throwing about 4 interceptions. Oregon State versus Washington State, we should not have even won the first game. We didn't even deserve to win that first game. There's no way we're going to Pullman, where Pullman's a tough place to play, and winning that. Maryland versus Michigan State. I don't think you could choose either of these teams. I don't think anyone wants to choose either of these teams. This is the battle of the shit. Maryland was 3-0, 4-0 to start the season, and they fell off a cliff. Michigan State, same thing. They've just been losing games in the Big Ten in absolutely excruciating fashion. See, I don't even want to pick this game. I'm just sitting here like, how do you pick a winner in this game when both teams are just ugly and they're not coached well and coaches are on the hot seat? We're just going to go with Michigan State. Shout out to my boy Jonathan Smith. South Florida versus Rice, no chance. Virginia Tech versus Virginia. This is a rivalry game that could have another. I've been picking too many upsets. Now this is the upset I'm going to pick. Okay, so Auburn right now is playing the best offense of the season. They're going to have Daniels at quarterback. He is more dual threat. We know Alabama struggles against dual threat quarterbacks, so that's already 1 point in Auburn's favor. Another point is that Bama has historically been bad at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's a Jordan-Hare Stadium night game. Crazy shit happens. That place is haunted. And also, Bama has not figured out the run game. I don't care that they had 267 yards last week against Eastern Illinois. Eastern Illinois got 2 first downs that game. Anyways, Bama still has a glaring weakness on offense, and I think that's going to allow Auburn to stay in the game. And if this game is close, at home, you have everything going for you. You have the interim coach who's fired up. You have some quarterbacks who can run it. They can even throw the freshman quarterback in there last week, who had damn near 200 all-purpose yards. I don't know what he did. But Auburn wins this game, knocks Alabama out of the playoff 2 seasons in a row. And at that point, does DeBoer go to Penn State? Because they're saying DeBoer's in the Penn State race. The Penn State race has been all... I don't know what to believe on these message boards. Anyways, North Carolina versus NC State. And I'm going with the same logic I did last week. North Carolina has played better. They could have won against Duke last week if they literally cleaned up 100 unsportsmanlike conduct penalties. Now, that's all on Bill Belichick. That is all coaching. Bill Belichick has made this team better throughout the season. They go on the road and beat NC State, where they should have beat Duke last week. Charlotte versus Tulane, same thing, outmatched. Northwestern versus Illinois. If this was at home, if this was at Wrigley, I would have picked Northwestern, but I'm thinking Illinois. They need a bounce back. They need to finish the year strong after losing to Wisconsin. You can't do that. UCLA versus USC. Obviously, USC at home. SMU versus Cal. Cal just fired their head coach. Don't know how hot they're going to come out. SMU, I think SMU wins and they go to the ACC championship. They control their own destiny. They're playing for much more than what Cal is playing for. UNLV versus Nevada. Nevada could win 3 in a row. And I don't know when the last time Nevada won 3 in a row was. Probably before COVID. It's been a long time. But UNLV's defense looked fantastic last week against a tough team in Hawaii. And if they're able to do that, if they're able to play some good defense like that, cause some turnovers, they're going to win that game. Fresno State versus San Jose State. This is just, Fresno State has fallen off this season, but I don't care. San Jose State's horrible. Notre Dame versus Stanford. Who the fuck do you think I'm going to pick in this game? Obviously, Notre Dame. Wyoming versus Hawaii. The last regular season game of the season. Hawaii. They're going to win 48-24. It's going to be a blowout. Oh, guys, God. Oh, my God. Oh, that was so much. Oh, God, dude. Make sure to enter the Amazon. Make sure. All right, guys, my brain just gets fried out.